Pranam. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we see you and we hear you.
Okay, good. So yesterday we had a quite amazing program with some of the Indians. They invited me for Zoom for the subjective evolution of consciousness. Of course, I had only 15 minutes to represent an idea of Srila Guru Maharaj, but I would like to say this idea of subjective evolution is a very deep idea. And I think it's worth writing books, making films, creating creative talks, and think about what is evolution, how is evolution of consciousness affecting us, what is subjective evolution of consciousness, and how we evolve consciously to a divine level. Because this is not just some scientific idea or alternative science. It's the way to become free from material existence and evolve to your spiritual evolution of love. So we are thinking sometimes what something can give me. Like, for instance, Srila Maharaj using Faraday, an example about electricity. When Faraday showing electric machine to some ladies 100 years ago, everybody said, yeah, what's this electricity do for me? Interestingly, that electricity been understood in much bigger way than we're using now. Now it's all coming to microelectronics, but eventually electricity being understood as something that medicinal, something that is energy, that provide health to the body. And there was a whole, I would say, group of scientists that been studying different applications of electricity. However, because of the commercial nature of the world, electricity was cannibalized by a group of bankers and people that just want to sell electricity to us, because it's a very simple thing. Okay, I sell you the light, I sell you the heat, I sell you life necessity. But the people who explore electricity, they had quite different ideas. They thought, oh, this is a great energy, so body can receive the energy. So that was the physics of the short waves of Lahovsky. Then it was Tesla and many, many other. There was an electric culture, farming through electricity, which is an incredible idea, still unexplored. It was in Tsar Russia. Some of the people in Ukraine, scientists also done at that time a great experiment with the atmospheric electricity. And finally, all this electricity patents and ideas were hidden from people because people were pushed towards consumer consciousness. So same ideas with evolution. It's a consumer idea right now at the moment. Nobody really think about the evolutionary idea is the way to show humanity the path of development. Because when we're talking about consumer idea of evolution, it sounds very, very reasonable. It makes a lot of sense to think, well, you know, at the particular moment, we are just thinking our origin is monkeys, and you know, we evolved to human beings with the higher beings, and that make your go towards the world of exploitation. But if we understand from idea of evolution that to become a human being means to become a spiritual person and means to develop your inner spiritual consciousness and qualities, then it gives you the whole perspective of self-development. Not just self-development, it goes to the highest extent of divine love, because the final stage of evolution is love, is to become a loving being with love, compassion, and divinity and immortality. So in the Guru Maharaj's words, idea of evolution, he takes you to Goloka Vrindavan and he shows you how Krishna consciousness is only a path of perfection, because there are many different paths of perfection. You know, the Buddhist or mystic yogis, they try to, master their energy, their chakras, their senses, have mystic powers, extend life. But that's not really the answer for question of evolution. Therefore, Srila Guru Maharaj wrote an incredible book called Shri Shri Prapana Jivanamritam. This incredible book is actually giving you perception that evolution of consciousness is evolution of love and surrender and connection with Supreme Being. And believe it or not, as much as you insignificant living being, but you meant for this higher relationship with Supreme. Although it sounds like very impossible idea from point of like the why God need little beings, it's okay. They can suffer in this world, they can die. Look at the war in Ukraine and Russia, look at the war in Israel. There's people coming this world, they're dying. But this is just a play of karma. This has nothing to do with evolution of love and consciousness. And nobody's really dying in this world. People leaving their body due to the karmic circumstance. And from divine perspective, the higher divine perspective, it's all coming to ultimate good. That's why Guru Maharaj said, oh, World War III, yeah, let it be. It's always the process in the world. So don't be afraid of end of material existence. It's unescapable, unavoidable. Be afraid of ignorance. This is the biggest enemy, ignorance of yourself. So you're existing in a self-ignorance and self-forgetfulness. Like you're going to sleep, it's almost like you're dying. You're waking up a new day, and you can say, my day was wasted. I didn't do anything productive. So why people want to be productive? Because they feel the time is something very valuable. And time is worth their productivity, but they measure their productivity in money. But everybody knows with money, you cannot buy time. With time, you can buy money, but with money, you cannot buy time. So therefore, it's really important for us to understand what is evolution of consciousness, what is time, what we can buy with our time, and what time is meant for. So all these things are quite deep. If anybody of you have any spiritual questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. We're not having a very long program today because we're still doing a festival. So I will try to stick within 45, 50 minutes a session today.
Dandavats Maharaj, yes, we have one question in the chat from Tulasi Didi from Ukraine. She is asking, how do you define for yourself the path of comfort and the path of service and giving in each of your particular life situation, and how do you make the choice between one and another practically?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all measured by success. Some people believe comfort is what they're looking for in their life, and some people are looking for success. So success may not be always a comfort. That's why when you go to sports, or let's say you're a professional sportsman, you're not entirely looking for, comfort when you work out or you play the game. You're looking for success. So in many people's idea of success is like winning the victory, getting famous, rich, have a beautiful consort, enjoy your senses, enjoy happiness, material happiness, enjoy material objects. But these are insignificant things because they're temporary, they can come and go. But your inner wealth is the most important. So why is it most important? Because if you develop any inner wealth, then you're not going to lose it. Like if you develop a great heart or peaceful mind, or the highest wealth is love of Krishna. So if that is developed, that can replace every external things in this world. But, because we are so much sucked into this material reality, we believe that the world of matter is primarily. However, people really explain that the world of consciousness is primarily, and the gateway to world of consciousness is divine devotional service, which is activity. It could be like karma or jnana, but really it's not the karma or jnana from a sense that is done with different motivation of love, devotion, self-giving, self-sacrifice, and satisfaction, Krishna Anushilanam, satisfaction of Krishna, which means basically satisfaction of Guru and Vaishnavas. That's what we have to think about. How to satisfy Guru and Vaishnava, how to satisfy Krishna, how to satisfy all our, friends, means spiritual friends, by performing our duties. And so that's another point of view coming. What's your duty? What's perception of duty? Because if you're gross materialist, it's one perception. If you're a spiritual person, it's another perception. So if you're living as a gross materialist, where self in the center, then I'm sorry for you. But if you live as a spiritual being, then you're dealing with higher self. So Arjuna say to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, why you want to steal a bucket of water when you're staying on the bank of ocean? Yeah, just imagine you're coming with a bucket of water to the ocean. You try to steal that bucket of water and ocean in front of you. Then my question is like, why do you need the water? Oh, because I need it, it's mine. What about ocean? You're part of that. So this is very, big delusion. And unfortunately, that's what people is trying to do in this world. They're trying to control bucket of water, and for that, they're willing to kill the rest of the world. That's what's going on right now. And, the war and the world conflict, as we can see, it's endorsing people's most negative side, hatred through propaganda. So that's how it works. It means that the people that become part of propaganda, they let themselves to be part of somebody else's idea. So if we go to propaganda of love and Krishna consciousness, and people will extend themselves to our ideas, then they can be saved. Otherwise, who doesn't like his motherland? Like, I love motherland Ukraine, I love motherland Russia, therefore I'm willing to protect. That's a very normal feeling. But what if I love Ukraine, Russia, and Thailand? What do I do then? What if I love every living being? And I can tell you, like, you won't get anywhere by killing each other, but you're forced to, because you're thinking that's the only way. Actually, it is not only way, but it's the propaganda that tells you. So why? Because there's people manipulating you. So you've been part of manipulation system because you don't have proper knowledge. And if you don't have a proper knowledge, you're just part of, you're lost forever because you don't have a deep knowledge. You can't understand things. Because really, that's what it is. So it's all going to lack of knowledge, lack of love, and lack of understanding. That's why I'm so happy in our community. We have together Russian-Ukrainian devotees, that we're not fighting. We love each other, we help each other, we support each other, and we believe in each other. And somebody say, well, there are some people from this side or that side, they play this or play that. It's okay, it's natural. See, because they're just listening propaganda. But really, if you listen Krishna consciousness, you understand the biggest enemy is you self. Why? Because this whole thing is going on just because of fools and idiots. If people would say, we're not going to do that, I'm not going to listen to your stupid command. I'm not like, I saw like in Germany, the German soldier was killed by Germans because he doesn't want to kill Russians, Ukrainians, because they told him to shoot them. And he said, I'm not going to shoot, I'm a believer. I'm a soldier, I'm not a killer. And they told him, then we shoot you. And he said, okay, you can shoot me, but at least I'm dying with my beliefs. I'm dying for my beliefs. So I believe this guy went up. I believe this guy, after dying, he been freed from this war by follow their ideas and ideals, which he believed in. So if people will develop this kind of beliefs and this kind of Krishna consciousness, then the world become a wonderful place. We know it may not going to happen overnight and tomorrow and to everybody, but we as a Krishna conscious devotee believe that's the only way for the peace and harmony. So as a Krishna conscious devotees, we know that the only persons we can change is ourselves. We need to change our heart. If I can change my heart, everything will be changed. And if I can help change others who want to be changed, that's another great service I can do for others. Otherwise, this is the way world we live in. And I need to understand the nature of this world. As Guru Maharaj explained, this world is a world of exploitation. So this is a world of exploitation, but there's a world of love and there's a world of dedication. So you have to choose which plane of consciousness you want to live. That's very obvious. Okay, next.
The next question we have from Narayani, that if the person was born on a holy land like in India, so this person has more security to receive the knowledge, or it doesn't matter, and like wherever you was born, it doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, just let's put it this way. You're born in New York, and you can go to the best school in the world, or you're born in the desert of Mongolia, you don't have this opportunity. Of course, it's important where you're born, but more important, how you use your opportunities. If you're born and you have not used your opportunity, you are the loser, because you are not used your opportunity, which can provide you great values and experience. So what's the point of being born in New York? Let's say we're the best musicians in the world, and be ignorant, selling drugs or doing crime, or just because New York is opportunity for crime. So think all these things, and it will make so much sense to you. You will understand that it's not about where you're born, it's about how did you use your opportunities. And normally, if you go to New York, you'll see a lot of successful people in New York came from elsewhere for the opportunities. So if you're born in India, it means nothing. Yes, you have better Sukriti, but look at the most Indians. They're not interested in spiritual life. They're interested in material development. There's billions of people who knows who Krishna is, but they're not really using this opportunity, but they're going for the West, to enjoy the Western culture, consumerism. And you from Ukraine or Russia or elsewhere, or America, and you're interested in Krishna consciousness, but see how many people, I could have talked to a million people in India right now, but unfortunately, we're not. I know that they're not spiritual. It's just, remember, an opportunity, the place does not provide an opportunity unless you take them. You go for it. Any other questions?
Not yet in the chat, but maybe somebody wants to ask question live, speaking to Swami. And Nama Chintamani is saying that she is very grateful for what you're giving and all the teaching we receive, because of this teaching, she understands what is going on.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not just about politics. You see, a lot of people understand what's going on in the world, but they don't know how to change the world. That's, it's not like you understand what's going on in the world. All right, you understand about conspiracy and all the bullshit, and you can change it. No, you cannot. You only can change yourself. Remember, according to the Greek philosophers, Stoics, they explain to you, you can't change things you cannot control. Like, I'm not controlling Putin, I'm not controlling Zelensky, I'm not controlling Joe Biden, I'm not controlling anything. But I can control my understanding, and I can control my perception. So instead of letting my hate and, I switch into love and compassion. And, and by controlling myself, I cannot be part of manipulation, because that's what it is in the world of manipulation. They try to manipulate your opinion, your ego. And, first they try to manipulate you by, the fellowship or patriotism, all these things that they know how to manipulate you. Finally, to push you into the death. So that's why it says the path to the hell is being built by great attempts. Oh, love this, love that, but die for this, die for that, kill for this, kill for that. So it's always like this, but it's never the truth. So let's go to the level of truth. That's what is important. The truth is important.
Okay. And we have raised hand from Parameshwar Das, so he will ask his question.
Да, мне слышно, да?
Да.
Yes.
Дандаваты, Махарадж. Дандаваты всем преданным.
Dandavat Maharaj and all the devotees. I want to ask a question about karma. In one of the lectures of Srila Maharaj, I've heard that you carry out your karma not just by deeds, but also in thoughts. But one thing, like if you kill someone or do some action, and another thing, if you just think about it, could you please expand on that?
Okay. I get your question. I'm not sure. So you have to understand, in Kali Yuga, only count the action because everybody have impure thought. So, but the problem is, what you let the thought into your brain, into your mind, which is basically like mirror, but that mirror is not clean. That thought create particular mind flow and particular delusion and illusion. So that's why thoughts are very dangerous. That's why people say, be careful of your thoughts, they can become reality. And, like let's say serial killer, this is the guy who started killing people in his mind. And in his mind, he may, watch the movies and simulate, certain activities and hate and senses. And normally, so all these maniacs and killers, they're weak from their mind. That's why they always examine them. Are they complete crazy or not? So what's the difference between complete crazy or not? It's very simple. This person can control his thoughts and desires, or he's such a great crazy that he can't even control anything. And they have to wait to figure. So once they realize, yeah, you're a serial killer, but you could control, that means you could stop yourself, then you go to a normal sentence, and maybe in America, electric chair or whatever. But if you are technically an ill person, they may give you just life sentence, you never get out of it. Why? Because if you are that level of craziness, you're you can't control yourself. So it's all questions that comes to whether you can control and direct your thoughts, or you under complete flow of external things. So now let's talk about your example about Krishna consciousness. If you are, let's say, deeply enough in Krishna consciousness, if your mind observing Krishna, which begin from chanting and hearing about Krishna, that's why we have to do this on a daily basis to benefit from it, then you're in a particular divine flow where Krishna is in charge. Then you over your mind. So these are important to understand. But these are high level of bhakti yoga you have to practice. And this is not like how you start, that's how you graduate. Any other questions?
Parameshwar Prabhu, are you satisfied with the answer, or you want to ask something more, maybe? According.
Типа мысли как бы не мои вообще мысли. Я так понимаю, что бывают какие-то мысли подселяются, И бывает, ты там просто, ну, как бы разные ситуации. Вот мне интересно было по поводу кармы, что мысли там стоишь на арате божества, и тут заходит диди какая-то там красивая, там подходит, ну, в саре, и как бы там какие-то мысли у тебя появляются. Хотя почему? Ты же как бы арати поешь там. Например.
Okay, please listen to me carefully. I think I can explain this to you in Russian, but in English, listen to me carefully. There are inner thoughts, which controllable or uncontrollable. And some thoughts, they're stronger than your ability to manage them. So it doesn't really matter what you do. What it matters is like what's inside your brain and what stimulates and provoke you. Sexual drive is one of the biggest drive of a living being. So it's instinct. So when you see beautiful female, naturally your mind attracted by her form because it's the nature. Now, if you're a self-conscious devotee, you're thinking, well, she's very beautiful for Krishna. You're not saying she's not beautiful or I don't have an attraction to her, but you think she's very attractive for Krishna. So these are called transporting your thoughts into Krishna consciousness. But when you start thinking, well, she's very beautiful, let me enjoy her, then you went to the level of karma, and that's where the karma begins. And maybe she'll be like a great wife, or maybe she should tell you, okay, I don't really like you, dude. You don't look like a person I want to be with. So, so whatever is in your mind, it does not mean this is real. It could be a delusion. All right, so let's move to the next question, because I think in order to what I've said, it has to be very clear translation, but also understanding. We can speak once more in Russian about this, but you have to think about, that's why do you think Krishna say, Man mana bhava mad bhakto? Why the great saints, they always chant holy name? There is reason for that. All right, next.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dear guests and devotees, please ask your questions. You still have 25 minutes to ask. You can ask in any language. We will try to translate. Okay, we have question in the chat box from Narayani. That she was speaking with one girl, and the girl said she is not ready to have initiation, but this girl asked if possible for person to progress in spiritual life, but without guru and not in the Krishna consciousness. Like,
of course. Life mean progress. And everybody tried to progress in the business and art. And there's so many gurus like your father, your mother, your teachers. And of course you can progress in your life. But the question, progress in what? Like if she would ask, can you achieve Krishna without guru and devotees? I would say no. Not intimate relationship with Krishna. Not deep relationship with Krishna, because when you go to the world of Krishna, you have to live with Krishna's devotees and you have to serve in group of Krishna's servants. So Krishna say, Janma karma chamidivyam smaram yaveti tatvatah. Who will understand me, my devotees, my world, he will be liberated. So Krishna is not saying, oh, you just understand me. You don't have to understand my devotee. So it's obvious for those who practice in deep devotional life that all success in the world coming through devotee. Now, Chamahatma Sudurlabha, it says in scriptures, such a great soul is very rare. That's why in our altar, preferably, we keep Govinda Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. And all other gurus have place in our heart, or maybe in our personal altar, but in our mats, in our mission, we try to focus on those great Vaishnavas who are self-realized souls. And you can say, what about Avadhut Maharaj? It's very simple. There are people like myself, just like yourself, on different levels. They're trying to go towards perfection. But there's already self-realized souls that came from spiritual world and show us the great knowledge. So therefore, there's unity and diversity. There's different levels of spirituality, and there's different levels of practice. There's different levels of Krishna consciousness, and it's all infinite, and it's all good on your spiritual path of perfection. Oh, somebody told me, why do we learn things by suffering? I say, because if we learn love of Krishna by suffering, that suffering is worth something. If we suffer and learn nothing, then that is a problem. But if we learn something by suffering, yes, suffering is not a good thing to do. But if that's the only way we can learn the lesson, by suffering, yeah, then the suffering is worth. That's why Krishna is giving us suffering, because it's the best medicine. Like, I have a friend of my devotee who has a cancer, a very terminal stage of cancer, and he suffers so much. At one point, I feel sorry for him, but from another point, I understand. In this world, if you suffer so much, then just to suffer your karma. Because he might be dying, but he's immortal. So bad karma will be suffered, burned by suffering. Because in our life, we don't want to practice spiritual life. We want to have easy. Then we have to burn this karma by suffering. This is the way of this world. So sometimes Krishna is very merciful to devotee. He gives him way to, and this person very, very late discovered that he has a terminal stage of cancer. That means that this cancer was within him, but was not that bad. So he wasn't suffering much. So he's suffering for a short time. Maybe he has to die, but at least he's not, some people like suffer for many years. But devotee by mercy of Krishna maybe suffer less and die quicker. That's also grace. Don't think it's not a grace. So everything can be seen from point of grace in this life. I remember there was a story about Tamal Krishna, who's a great Prabhupada disciple. He was driving taxi on the way to Navadvip at Gaura Purnima, and he died in a car accident. And somebody said, oh, so why Krishna is such a great devotee? Why Krishna allowed this? And Gurudev said, Krishna allowed this because he's died on the way to holy place, to Mahaprabhu. Maybe he's coming to Mahaprabhu with his spiritual body. It's eternal Dham, Navadvip Dham. So from a material point of view, it sounds like, wow, why? But from spiritual point of view, look, you're dying on the path of holy place. That's what Guru Maharaj's desire was. He said, if I go to Gambhira, to Puri, I'll be the most happy man. And if, I die on the way, that at least I've been moving towards good direction. So Guru Maharaj was willing to die at his old age to way to Gambhira. He didn't say, oh, I have to die in Gambhira, I have to die in Puri. He said, at least my aspiration to move towards the direction of Krishna consciousness. So remember, the Krishna consciousness itself is a very, very deep thing. But if we're moving in the proper direction, that's a great fortune. So I'm not saying I'm Krishna conscious or, like we're all like divine, highly realized souls. But if we're moving towards this direction, opportunity sincerely, then we're very fortunate souls. And how much we can do in this life, we don't know. I don't know how much I can manage. You don't know how much you can manage, but if we've done something substantial for Krishna in this life, it's our great fortune.
Thank you, Maharaj. We have one more question from Tulasi Didi from Ukraine in the chat box. She's asking, what do we do if a guru or senior devotee treats us badly? Do they judge or criticize us behind our eyes or directly look for faults in us and tell other devotees about us or our friends about them. How should we take this? What should we do? Can we build good relationship with other devotees in such situation? And what is the right way to do?
Great devotees normally don't criticize anyone, like Madhusudana Maharaj. Example, he doesn't like to criticize anyone. But even people like Madhusudana Maharaj, sometimes they have to get involved with people that criticize others. That's like, see, even pure Vaishnava like Madhusudana Maharaj, sometimes you're dealing with those who criticize others out of necessity. So this is very misfortunate, but that's the world. We live in a world of exploitation. But the good thing about Madhusudana Maharaj, he doesn't like to do that. He doesn't go to do that. But even such a saintly person like him sometimes has to involve with this kind of people because it's unavoidable. That's part of material world, criticism. Like I've learned about myself that I have very bad mind and sometimes I criticize people. And I realize that I suffer from it myself. It's not a positive thing, but my critical mind trying to analyze, why this. But remember, you cannot control other people. Like you cannot expect that other people do everything right or perfect. You can only expect from yourself. So my understanding about my own criticism was false expectation. Like I'm expecting from this devotee to give fully his life. No, he's not doing it. Then I started criticizing him. But really, I should give fully my life to Krishna. Whether this devotee will do it or not, that's not my business. I cannot change this devotee. I only can change myself. So Guru Maharaj's philosophy, very much like the Stoics. The Stoics, the Greek philosophers, they said, you can only change yourself by understanding. So eventually, you should think everything that comes from Krishna is good. But even the punishment, even punishment will be highly appreciated by you if you understand meaning of punishment. That behind everything is loving Lord. This is a very high level of spiritual realizations, but you have to work towards that high level of spiritual realizations. You have to work on you, but you have to learn spiritual principles and follow spiritual principles. And if you do follow the spiritual principles, then you can succeed. So we have about 5 to 10 minutes left. And because I'm on festival, there's people waiting for me to come down and talk to them. So kindly requesting you to give maybe one more question, and we're done for today. The question is, what if somebody who's not qualified leading the program and not really delivering the productive spiritual content? Well, there are two things to that. Number one, really, the spiritual growth is normally when you are working under association of higher devotee. Sometimes there's no higher devotee nearby, but you have the faith, you have belief, right? If your belief is very strong and you're trying very best, then by Krishna's will, you can be neophyte, but take kind of high position. But if there's some involvement of neophyte and ego, then it's a big problem. Because the neophytes, they know what's in the book, and they know what's wrong with others, but they don't know what's wrong with them. So neophytes, the people that need to be checked and controlled, normally by senior devotees. So it has to be some spiritual authority. So if there's some managerial problem in the temple, and that need to be discussed with higher level of devotees, let's say with Avadhut Maharaj or somebody, and it has to discuss amongst devotees and say, hey, this program, this person, he may not understand philosophy, but because of his desire and ego, he's trying to, put his So we say lay his trip on everybody else. So that's very misfortunate. But one thing which doesn't work is direct fight, because when people start fighting in the temple, it normally doesn't go any deeper. So you need some authority or somebody who can curate and moderate that situation. And then according senior devotee, things can be adjusted. That's why you need some senior devotee who curate and moderate them. But that senior devotee has to be not just senior with beard, he has to understand the situation, leadership, and what's going on. So in this case, one can easier go to his, senior devotee, if that senior devotee will, provide loving devotional help and service. Anyway, I messed up numerous projects and I made so many mistakes myself, and I'm still making them. And I'm in position of guru and, somebody else. It doesn't mean that I'm not guru, I'm almost learning. We're all learning. I remember I told you, life is learning progress for everybody. Guru is a learner. It's not somebody, even liberated soul who came from Goloka Vrindavan, he's acting as a learner, because that's the quality of guru, to learn and to teach. So we all have to learn, and we have to see how it is to be done. And of course, we need to be very cautious about our team, the people that we put in charge, the people that will give authority over ourselves. Look what happened in Russia and Ukraine. People give authority over themselves to are not very good people. A result you can see yourself. So if you give to authority to bad manager, bad king, bad president, bad leader, who's not acting in the interest of everybody else, you'll get trouble. So the leadership has to act in interest of not themselves, the interest of the mata. So that's what I would like to say. Rest of it, I got your point. Let's talk about this Monday. Maybe with Rasananda, you can call me Monday and we can talk about what's going on in Govinda land. It's very important. Govinda land is a very important project for us. We kind of have to let it go. Dandavad Pranam.
Fulanari Didi is asking what to do when we want to criticize everybody around. How to get rid of this desire?
Okay, well, remember, everything we have as a desire is part of our imperfect nature. That is, I have the same problem, to tell you honestly. Sometimes I have a very critical mind and I want to criticize people, but it doesn't work. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would teach his disciples to glorify other devotees, to learn what's good about them, not what's wrong about them. So normally, to understand what's good about them and what's wrong about them would be a very powerful way to get rid of the criticism. So devotees are a source of inspiration. Try to inspire by devotees by seeing wonderful things they're doing. And as Guru Maharaj would say, religion is proper adjustment. You have to adjust yourself. But sometimes it's not possible. But remember, Krishna and Guru also great teacher. So Krishna will teach every one of us according to his mercy, sweet will. Krishna is not stupid. He knows where to give you the power and resources and where to take them off. I know this of my own self. So anyway, but Krishna is very merciful and sweet, and Gurudev very tolerant and beautiful. So don't give up your hope for higher plane. Just as Guru Maharaj used to say, adjust yourself, environment is friendly. So try to mirror, reflect your inner self and understand this is imperfection that by Krishna's grace, you've been allowed to see within yourself. And therefore, you have to be non-emotional. Because emotions, that's emotions. So let the emotions go. Like, therefore, you have to chant and meditate, and then you observe your inner world very carefully, and then you let your emotions go. If you immediately react, you're just reacting with emotion. It's like not thoughtful, not conscious. It's like monkey. Or like children, and cry in a minute. Emotion. So don't be like a child, be like an adult. Try to grow spiritually and consciously. My Dandavad Pranam, I'm so happy to see Nadia Didi. She's running the show and always trying to do some service. She's very observant to service. And, that's how you get the mercy of devotees. You try to serve, you try to extend, and, the mercy of Guru and Krishna will come to you for sure. And then we have some other guests here, and we have some people that commonly frequently stay in all the programs and ask all the questions. So I want to thank everybody for this little meeting, an opportunity of Narayan Didi to provide me audience and all other may not say but remember, we live in a world where English is number one communication. I have to learn how to communicate. And it's an opportunity for me. I also thank Marie, all other devotees that are part of this little English-speaking program, and try to hear more lectures. Like, let's say, Goswami Maharaj or Madhusudan Maharaj, they're very native English speakers. You can hear their lectures to learn English and to learn philosophy in English. And of course, my English is not perfect, but I'm trying to express myself in the most, I would say, adaptable way to be very clear and straightforward. And it's also great for me to practice this. Tomorrow I'm going to have a speech and a yoga studio, and sometimes there's many people. And, it's always a great practice, Krishna consciousness in different circumstances. So I want to thank you all. I Dandavad Pranam, Hare Krishna. God bless you. Gurudev bless you. Thank you all. Stay in touch, help each other, support each other. And that's how we can move forward. And gradually, step by step, we can come to perfection. It's eternal path, but we all know that this path is very grateful, and it's the highest possible path of evolution of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we need to continue our journey. Hare Krishna, Dandavad.